Okay, so this is the Cimple Engine, and this is what I have so far. The goal is to make a kind of block world game engine that I can do a wide variety of things with, whether it be make like randomly generated adventure games, maybe kind of small self-contained horror-ish game experiences. The point is for it to be versatile and easily usable. Um, and so far, I have this kind of large cube of these rainbow boxes. And so what's interesting and neat about this is these are actually made of chunks in the world. Each chunk is a 10 by 10 box, and this is a 3 by 3 by 3 cube of them. So each chunk, so you can see the four corners here of one chunk, and so then there's three of them all pressed up next to each other. Now I also have, well, the next thing I'm working on is a kind of tracing function to know am I hitting a block or not, and if I click, it activates. Currently it says hit. I'm actually really surprised it says that because just everywhere I click says hit. Okay, yeah, so the function is currently broken, and the issue is I don't know why. And so my next goal is to make a way to kind of draw debug lines, just kind of, just draw debug trace lines so I can know what's wrong with it. Well, before I could do that, I needed to make a timer manager because I want these lines only exist for certain periods of time. So I made a little timer manager here. But the other issue was I wanted the ability to track if the object that the timer needs to call exists or not. And so for that, I needed to make an entire pointer memory manager system. And I think it's pretty done. It's been a bit rigorously tested, and it stopped crashing, which is great. This is the first time I've made a kind of memory manager system like this. Pointer manager is a bit of a better word, but that's the idea. And my next goal is to make a way to actually draw the debug lines, because currently you can only draw those kind of cubes that you saw. So debug lines are the next step. So I've just finished making a line renderer. As you can see, it's drawing some nice little debug lines, and it's not really working. The lines have zero thickness, so it's a bit hard to see them. But I mean, the collision detection is not working at all. Like, that's very clearly going through blocks, and it's still saying miss. There goes my theory that it was doing some weird wrong direction things. So there's clearly something deeper wrong with it. The issue here is this red line, because I'm telling it to go from the point that I am telling it, the origin point, right? Like, put a breakpoint here and then click again. The origin point is 0.5 to 0.5. Basically, what I'm doing is I've just hard-coded a start in the middle with a 2 and then just shoot straight down. So, and I've also configured this to always hit the cube, like the cube from 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1, 1. So this should hit it perfectly in the middle, and it does. It properly enters a zone. And however, I'm not seeing the 0.5 here. This is clearly drawing itself at 1, 1, 1. Oh, hold on. Right? Like, what do you say the start float and the end float are? Start float is 0.5 to 0.5, end float is 0.5 negative 98.5. Yep, that's correct. If I come up here to my renderer, which, yes, does use immediate mode, I know. Put a breakpoint in there. Turn that off. Okay, so this is the 0.5 to 0.5, 0.5 to 98.5. Yeah, that should properly draw the line. And then this is the 1 to 0.56.5. Wait a minute. Wait. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Oh my god. Oh, I think I know what the issue is. This entire time, I think I know what the issue is. So this is my mesh, right? This is the code to generate a mesh. Yup. That's the issue. This is the issue. Oh, sweet, sweet dear. Yeah, this entire time, these vertices here are not, they're not zeroed. They're not zeroed. They're from negative 0.5 to 0.5, which means, let me turn that off, which means this entire time, this point right here is actually 0.5, not 1, which means this cube should be slightly farther over here and slightly higher up. One moment while I fix my mesh and turn it to what it's supposed to be. Okay, it's not nearly as pretty or cleanly formatted now, but this was never permanent anyways. And this, people, is why, so if you're wondering, how did I make such an egregious error? This was done months ago. I am curious to see when I last edited this file, but yeah, this was done a long time ago. So let's see how things work now. I'm just gonna change this back to kind of what it should be. I'll leave that as 5, just for the sake of not having something that shoots off to 100 up. Oh yeah, we started at 0, 0, 0, and we're no longer inside the, well, we're only partially inside the cube now. So now when I click, yep, there it is. There's the red line. There's the purple line coming up from it. Oh look. Oh look. I think as long as I keep seeing hits, let's try from below. Yep. Now these should all be misses. Yeah, my code works fine. Oh my. Oh. And this is why proper debugging and also reviewing what you've done in the past is a little bit important. May. I did this in May. Yeah, it is now, if you can't tell from down here, September. Cool. Well, let me try turning on. Okay, well, it's cool that this now works. Unfortunately, the rest of the code below this point, I know for a fact, does not work properly, so I'm gonna have to redo that. Okay, I have found a solution. So I remembered that years ago, the first time I tried creating an engine like this, I got busy, ran into other difficulties, and stopped. But I did have a ray tracing, or a tracing thing like this, and it did work. And I copied it into here, basically. I reached the point in the debugging process where trying to fix the better solution I had would probably take. It was too much energy and time and effort was putting into this when I had a known good solution that might have been a bit less efficient or a bit more clunky. And so for now, I've implemented it. Thankfully, due to the nature of these tracing algorithms, like as long as the function, stays the same, I can just kind of change how it works later. So I'm not too concerned with that. But the principle of how this works is for each different axis of movement, it tabulates how many steps you'll have to take and store them in this iter function, and then it will literally it will then iterate over this many times, figuring out, basically doing the same thing that the function I tried to get working was, where it would update and try to step, but it does it in this slightly different way. And this works. This, like, if I hit startup, hopefully the build succeeds. I started working on a new thing. Yes, the build succeeds. Good. One moment. Okay, there we go. The build succeeds. And so now I can, and this will like always shoot and hit the correct thing. Yep, there we go. Then it misses, and this works. So I can now start to implement kind of like block placing, block removing. Cool. Issue with the pointer system. Got it. That's what I'm a little bit more okay with. I'll look into that. Obviously, my pointer system needs more work too, but I kind of expected that, honestly. This is definitely a work in progress, and I am one person trying to make something that is usually made by more than one person. So I'll see. And I guess kind of to round up here, part of the reason why I'm doing this project is to really stretch myself to do things I normally wouldn't do. Or not normally wouldn't do, but like normally, like, or to stretch myself and to kind of push and really test my limits and see what I can do on my own. This project requires a lot of Googling, a lot of thinking, a lot of processing. Like, there are some solutions that I've had to look up. But what's tricky is that there's some solutions that I don't even know how to look up. For instance, I don't know what the keywords to Google. Like, a great example was this function here. Like, figuring out what to Google to get some sort of semblance of like a thing that turns a 3D ray into the list of like grid points that it goes through. Finding that was hard. I don't even know how I found it in the past, because like this works as stated. So that's something. And then also, like, there's the whole memory manager thing. Like, this is all something I've never really done before. Obviously it needs more work. And yeah, I'm excited. The system is interesting. The system, like, all these systems are very interesting. I really like these types of projects. I like making systems. I like making these structures that need to interface with each other and work together. The next thing I've started working on is this texture manager to hopefully kind of allow me to load in textures easier, because currently, of course, I'm just kind of doing it raw. Like, I'm just raw loading in textures and just manually kind of assigning them. So hopefully this texture manager will allow me to kind of be a bit cooler with that. But I don't know. I don't know if this is ever going to hit completion. I could get busy again. I could, something could happen. But as long as I can, I'm going to keep working on this, keep tinkering with it, just to continue do something that I enjoy and that I have fun with. As much as the debugging pains me, it's enjoyable, especially when you eventually find a solution. That'll be it for this little devlog. Next time, maybe there'll be new textures. Maybe they'll be placing and removing blocks. Who knows? Till then.